Welcome back to episode 349 of the Guy and Guns podcast. I'm your host, Troy.
And I'm your other host, Doug.
We use this podcast to talk about guy guns and the responsible Christian gun owner's interest. On this week's show, we'll be talking about the recent string of 2A victories. The Second Amendment's been winning in the courts here for the most part. There was one that didn't go too well, I think in Missouri, but most of it's been going pretty good. And, where's Troy and Doug been? We have a tendency to disappear for long periods of time, and we apologize for that. And we'll explain here in a little bit. First of all, we'll thank our bandwidth sponsors, Primary Arms. Primary Arms is got all kinds of cool stuff, and I meant to have that up there for you guys to watch. But if you have not been to Primary Arms, please go over there and check them out. They have all kinds of cool devices and items and accoutrements that you definitely need in your arsenal, and attachments for all your pew pews and things like that. If you if you ever have the opportunity, tell them thank you for supporting Farms Radio Network and for supporting God and Guns. We appreciate them very much. Next up, of course, is Farms Radio Network. They are the ones who provide the bandwidth for you guys to download at your convenience and watch at your convenience and listen at your convenience on podcast and on YouTube videos and on soon to be we're on Rumble now too, so a lot of the shows are going to Rumble and other devices because YouTube's really been giving us a hard time over here, us pro 2A guys, us patriots, Americans. They've been giving us a hard time, so make sure you check out the other shows, the Firearms Radio Network. Got lots of good friends over there putting out hard work and are trying to provide you guys something to watch or listen to. Also, we want to thank Patriot Patch Company. They've been faithful to us through thick and thin. I've got some stickers here. I've got Danger Close sticker came out, I think, back in February. And I got a green girl with really scantily clothed this month's Patch of the Month Club. I didn't bring that one down here, but there's all kinds of patches and stickers and shirts and cool things, gun rugs. Uh, Check out the offerings they've got over at patriotpatch.co and give Jake and them a little bit of love. They have been really good to us, even though we've not been on the air. They have still supported us, and we appreciate that, and we need to repay them any way we can. So you guys go over and order you some more patches, more cool gear, stickers, and they got so much stuff. You just got to go check it out. I mean,
Yeah.
hundreds of patches and stickers now. We want to we think all those guys we'll talk about maybe a little bit more later in the show here. So it's been a while. This week's Guide and Guns, so it should be like this 6 weeks Guide and Guns activities. I think it's probably been 5 or 6 weeks since we've been on. At least that.
It's been a few.
I was. I'll let you go ahead and do yours, and then I'll explain what happened to me. It's not been Doug's fault; it's been my fault that we've not been on the air. And we'll get into that here in a minute. But Doug, you tell them what you've been doing in the last uh, fourth of the year. No, I mean, the wall since we've been on.
the the first half of the year.
Yeah, if you're out there, give us a thumbs up and throw us a comment in the comments. We'll try to keep an eye on the comments as you go.
Yep. Well, you and I both have been gimped up, and you can talk about your gimpness in a minute when you start. But I still been fighting uh, a battle with my knees, and I finally went to the doctor and got my wrist checked out. And hey, look at that! He gave me a bowling glove, so for that hand. So I actually tore the cartilage in my wrist, and I think he would like to do surgery, but Doug does not want to do surgery. So I'm trying to see if it'll heal, and
Is
it
that
is actually getting better.
is that like a local surgery, or is that something you got to go under the?
Oh no, you got to go under. I
Yeah,
watch videos on it anytime they talk about wanting to do surgery on them. I go watch the videos, and
yeah.
it's he. They would actually put a hole right there in the center of my wrist and put the camera in and go inside. And he goes, he said, you won't be out too long. He said, surgery and everything only takes about 40, 50 minutes. I was like, let's see how this works first. So he offered to give me a shot in my knees because I've been doing dual edge knees, wrist, same doctor.
Yeah.
And he put me on this medication called Mobic because I asked him, I said, man, what can I take for this, for the pain other than eating ibuprofen like Skittles, man? I said, I'm going through economy bottles, of this stuff.
You and me
He said,
both, buddy.
well, he said, let me put you on this Mobic. You only got to take one pill a day. He said, and we'll see if it helps. He said, I can go ahead and give you a shot in your knees today. I said, well, I said, I'd rather wait for 2 weeks. I could go back and see him for 2 weeks. I said, I'd rather wait for the 2 weeks to go by and try the Mobic because if you give me shots, I'm not going to know which one's helping. So I can actually walk now. I don't have to have a cane. So it feels a lot better. I'm getting ready to in the hog hunt. That's where I was at tonight. I got off work. I got a friend of mine that I used to work with when I was in the school with the school system, and he contacted me a few weeks ago, and he's like, "Hey," he said, "I'm fixing to get this field. I'm going to lease it for my cattle." He said, "We're going to hair it up, but." He said, "There's so many hogs coming in there that they're tearing the field up so bad we can't hardly run a tractor through it.
Hmm.
And can you help me out with that?" I was like, "Yes, yes, I can." So I went out tonight and looked at it. They got it haired up, so it's fresh dirt. So that's just going to bring the hogs in even more. So
Hmm.
this time tomorrow night, I should be slinging a little bit of lead and see if I can't pop a few. But let's see what else have I been doing, man. Of course, on the guys side, I've been doing my Sportsman's Daily Devotional, and I think I've been to church the last 4 weeks in a row. I do believe. Um,
Yeah.
actually, got the opportunity now where I can get back and having a good time. And two of my granddaughters are going with us, and they're loving children's church. So, um, and for some reason, they love to go to Chinese after church. They want to go to the Chinese buffet. That's what they want to do. So, I was like,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, let's do it. So, we've been doing that. Uh, I finally, on the ham side, I finally got a radio hooked up in here in the man room. And I was actually talking on a net up in Kentucky earlier before we did the show, and I got a
Chucky D starting it.
Kentucky D Star net, and I hooked up I got an antenna hooked up in here, and I actually built my own antenna cable. Troy, you'd be proud of me.
I am proud of you.
So I soldered it in the whole 9 yards, man, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not because I did it, but I got it hooked up, and I I can talk no problem. I've hit all the repeaters around me, and I'm coming in loud and clear on them. So I'm enjoying not have to go out to the truck and sit and talk on the radio.
It's nice,
It,
isn't it?
it is extremely nice. Now I've got my eye on an ICOM 718 if a buddy of mine is selling, and so I can start doing HF. And
Good deal.
I'm probably gonna I'm probably gonna buy it. I know I am. I would like to have a 991A so I could
Sh-
do everything on
Shack
one
in the box.
radio. Yep,
Yeah.
Shack in the box. So I can do everything on one radio. But man, they are so proud of those things.
Yeah. That's what I got. That's my home HF rig. And
A 991A?
mhm.
No.
Yeah, that's the first HF rig I bought is a 918. That's why I talked to the when I'm here in my office. I talked to Glasgow and the Cane Valley repeater over at Columbia, and I could talk to Bardstown and Elizabethtown. I could reach a couple of the Louisville stations from here with just the same kind of J pole I gave you.
Hmm.
It's getting 50 miles without any trouble at all. I've just got it up 30 something feet, 35 feet. But I'm up on
Nice.
top of a ridge, so I've got a little bit of a height advantage here on the
Right.
property.
Well, I'm hitting all the repeaters around me and not having any problem with it. So we'll see. I'm actually gonna move it and put it up in my attic eventually. Um, I'd like to put it outside, but the coax run would be horrendous because my wife ain't gonna let me put an antenna on the front side of the house, so I have to put it somewhere in the backyard. So that'd be a long run to get back in here.
You can mount it on your roof. on the eave of your roof. It's got that bracket. If you're using the one that I gave you, that it's got that angle piece of iron on it. You can put
Mhm.
two bolts in it, and put it on the end of your eave at the top of your roof, and just run it down into the attic and drop it down. I don't know where you run it to where your man cave.
Mhm. Which is on the front of the house.
Yeah, but you can run the cable through the attic and then drop it down a
Yeah.
wall
Yeah, I
coming
could.
that way. Then you wouldn't have to put tower. You wouldn't have to put tower up because the apex of your roof can be pretty high up there. But
Mhm.
you're gonna need to run a ground. You need to run a ground down to the ground in case you get a lightning strike. You want to drive you a big 8-10 foot long copper rod in the ground, put a grounding strap on it, run a piece of copper wire up to your antenna so it takes it to the ground instead of to your radio.
But then I run into the same problem. The wife will see the copper wire on the front of the house.
Paint it white or whatever color your siding is.
Maybe we will see. But if I get this
Scratch
HF,
your glasses up real good. She'll never see.
I know, right? I'll figure something out. I haven't quite decided. I've been watching videos and
Well, mainly
I'm
on
trying
the
to.
other end of your house, what's on the other side of the garage, she'll never see it over there.
Yeah, I could do it back there. I could put it back there, and
Yeah,
she wouldn't see it. I could just run
yeah.
the cable
Just get one of your
to it.
son-in-laws running up through the attic for you since you shouldn't be up there crawling around.
Exactly,
That's what you got them son-in-laws running around there for.
exactly. Yeah, they hit me up for stuff, so hit them
Yeah.
up every once in a while, right? Let's see what else. Oh, so I was thinking about an antenna. I'm toying with the idea of putting it in the attic because
An HF
upstairs,
or
yeah, an
just.
HF. I put a dipole wire antenna up there,
Hmm.
and I could run it down the middle of the house at the highest point next
Yeah.
um, to the crest up there. But I could string it from one side to the other and string it out
Just put up
and
on the
have
roof. Just put up on the back side of the roof. She won't see it
the
on the outside. Run the cable back down through the same one you run your 2 meter through.
yeah,
2 meter 440.
and put what, a dipole.
You could put a in-fed half wave. You could put all kinds of stuff up there. Put you some standoffs up there off your shingles. Well, we're
Mhm.
getting into too much into the ham stuff. We can talk about this stuff off there. Everybody's like, we don't want to care about the ham stuff. There's only like three people out there.
That's
No,
kind of my thing.
we got about 10, 15 guys, or maybe 20 guys that got ham licenses since we started this.
Oh yeah, and I may or may not have put another gun on layaway. My wife took my 365.
I heard about that.
She likes it. I messed up when I went to Arkansas,
Uh huh.
and
You left it with
and
her.
I left the 365 here. I had my Glock with me,
Yeah.
and when I got back, where I had my 365 on the nightstand, her little 38 revolver was now laying there, and my Sig was gone. I was like, "Hey, where's my gun?" And she's like, "I really like that thing." I was like, "Oh." She said, "You might just have to get another one."
Yeah.
Oh, well, don't threaten me with a good time. So I may or may not have put another 365 on layaway with an RMR cut on it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good deal. That
so
got you?
that's me, man. What you been up to? I've been doing a lot of other stuff probably, but
Yeah, we'll come. We'll probably talk about it through the show.
oh, I'm
Might be
sure.
a longer one than normal. I know you guys are not a lot of late owls, so you may have to watch the rest of it later on. And we're gonna ramble a little bit because we're old. But so the reason I've been gone is I don't remember the exact date. I think it was around January around the first of no middle. So I got the nail in the foot back last in like December. I got over that. I got COVID. Same time I had the nail in the foot. Got over that. The wife, everybody else in the family had COVID. Wife finally got over that in January. And then I'm coming in the house and I tweaked my knee coming up the steps. I thought, oh man. And so the next morning I got up and I had a little egg on the side of my foot. Looked like I twisted my ankle, which backstory on me, I played football. When I played, and I was born flat-footed. I mean, my feet are like a duck. They're flat as you can get. Flat footers. I had corrective shoes from the time I was, old enough to walk, able to walk. Uh, so all my life I had flat feet. All my life been big and heavy, and that didn't help with the flat feet. And then in my mid to late 50s now, I've got arthritis also. So I have flat feet, arthritis, lots of injuries, and then I played football. When I played football, I got speared in 2 years. I got speared 5 times, hit the back. Speared, if you don't know what football is someone takes a helmet and they hit you in the back. That's
Targeting down.
cowardly. They're trying to take me out of the game, which they never did take me out of the game, but they did cause permanent injuries. And one of those permanent injuries was neuropathy in my feet. I haven't felt my feet much of my feet since I was 16 due to all the spinal injuries from the football. And then I had spinal injuries from weightlifting, which exacerbated it. So, me not being able to feel my feet wasn't anything new. And I've twisted my ankle sometimes and not realize that I've twisted my ankle as bad as it is and stuff like that has happened before. So my foot swelled up and I thought, I sprained my foot, looked like a regular sprain of the foot. Tried to keep it up and stayed off it for a couple of days, and it kept getting worse. It kept getting bigger and swelling up more. And I was at church, and I mean, it was not painful because of the neuropathy. I couldn't really feel it, but it looked really angry, and it swollen quite considerably. And so I went to the chiropractor, and he said, "Yeah, you look like you're a little bit out of alignment." And he did a little bit of adjustment on it, and it felt okay. I mean, it didn't feel out of the normal. And then I was at church and standing up singing, and I felt pressure in the back of my calf, and I felt pressure up the back of my leg, the same leg as the foot. And I know in your 50s and being overweight and all those things, you get pressure in the back of your leg. It could be blood clot. And so I know a friend that had blood clot. It's about our age, and he didn't catch it in time. It did a lot of damage. And so I leaned over to my wife. I said, "Let's go to the hospital." I mean, if you know me, that's like putting a gun to my head and saying, "Okay, I'm going to pull the trigger." I do not like doctors and I do not like hospitals, but I thought if I die because I'm too stubborn to go to the doctor because of a blood clot, and they could give you a shot or they can, give you some medicine to help break that clot up. I didn't go get this checked out. So I went to the hospital. They looked at it and said, "Oh, it looks like a bad sprain." I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought, but it's just getting bigger all the time. And so they said, "Well, let's check it out and see." And so they did the ultrasound. They said, "All your veins are fine. You got good circulation. It's not that." And they said, "It looks like a sprain." I said, "But I didn't remember spraining it." And they said, "Well, keep it iced and elevated. It'll be all right." And that was on a Sunday. You spend half the day Sunday in an emergency room. And so I go home and keep it elevated. The next day, it's even bigger. I call my podiatrist and I say, "Hey, I need to get in. How soon you get me in?" "Friday." I'm like, all right. So Tuesday morning, I woke up. It was humongous. I mean, it was all the way around. The whole ankle was swollen. It was red. It was hot to the touch. I was like, "There's something wrong, bad wrong here." So I called the podiatrist again. I said, "I don't care which one I get in to see. I got to see somebody today." They said, "Come on." And so I went on up there and saw the doctor that was in the office. My regular podiatrist is only like, Mondays and Wednesdays. And at that office, he rotates around. Went and saw the other podiatrist and they took x-rays, all different angles and stuff. And comes in, he goes, "Okay." He said, "Have you got diabetes?" And I said, "I've had it and I've gotten over it." And I said, I haven't checked my blood sugar lately." He said, "I think your diabetes is coming back." He said, "Because you got Charcot foot or shark foot or something like that. Spell the C." And what it is your blood sugar gets up and it causes your foot to start uh, uh, collapsing, causes your arches to collapse, which I didn't really have arches. And so what happened is my ankle started collapsing and a bone had pushed out of position and caused the instability in the joint, which He said, I caught it quickly. He said, I caught it early. And he said, that's the good thing going for you. It hadn't completely collapsed. It hadn't broken anything. He said, but you got to stay off of it for 1 to 3 months. He mean, and he's like, don't put any weight on it for like 1 to 3 months. He said, you need to go get a special brace. You need to get this brace. You need to get a knee scooter thing so that you don't put any weight on your foot. And so I'm going to full explanation here. And so check my blood sugar. It was 290. It was way up there. It hadn't been, and the reason that is because of the holidays. I was eating like an idiot during the holidays, and I'd been laid up with the COVID, laid up with the other foot. I hadn't had any exercise, hadn't been doing my regular fasting, and so uh, I went and called my regular doctor. Said, "Hey, blood sugar's up." They told me to follow up with you. And he said, well, we can give you this medicine, that medicine, or this other medicine. He said, just go get your full blood series, check your blood sugars and see what they are. And went, okay. So I went and like the next day after that, went and got a blood test. And the blood test came back that A1C was 10, which was way up there. It hadn't been that for a long time. And so uh, I went right back to fasting right away. And so it was 199 at the day I got the blood drawn. When I followed up with the doctor 2 days later, I had it down to 165 was what my daily numbers were running. And so when I went to immediate fast, I cut out only thing I was eating was meat and vegetables, fats. I was eating, oils and like olive oils and butter and meat with no breading, anything like that, grilled or baked meat and steamed vegetables. That's all I've eaten since then. And my blood sugar has been running between 90 and 119 for the last 3 weeks. So my
That's good.
A1C, yeah, I mean, my numbers. It took me 2 weeks to get into the normal range of just doing the fast, and then I did a 3 day fast and broke through all that. And so, in conjunction with that, I got this temporary brace which wraps around and holds everything together. And I got ordered a knee kicker, and so a little scooter that you put your knee on. And I've been getting around that. And I went for a follow up visit 2 weeks ago now. Uh, yeah, we could have 2 weeks ago now. And the podiatrist says, I can't believe this is the same foot. He said, it's already moved back. It's starting to move back where it's supposed to be. All the inflammation's out of it. He said, you're doing what you need to do. Stay off of it another month. Come back and see me. So on the 21st, to go back for another follow up. So I've not gotten on the foot other than to get like from my chair to the knee kicker, from a knee kick, I call it knee kicker, whatever. It's a little scooter thing.
Little
That
rascal.
to the bath, the bathroom or the shower to the knee chair, then the knee thing, and then I've been going to church, but uh, after that doctor's appointment, he said, "Well, you can go back to driving again." He said, "You don't have to." He had me in the boot plus the brace. He said, "Well, you get rid of the boot now. Just wear the brace and a shoe that fits." And so he said, "You can drive, but I don't want you on your feet or sitting upright more than 3 hours a day, something like that, for another month." And so I've been doing the best I can. It's been driving me crazy sitting in a chair trying to take care of all the stuff going on. My son has picked up all the farming stuff, so he's been going out putting hay out with the tractor and all that stuff, checking on the cows and fixing fences, all the stuff that I usually took care of, or we worked together on a lot. So he's picked up all that. Krista's been taking care of a lot of the rental property stuff that I normally have to do, and then I just been armchair quarterbacking with a phone and a computer and trying to do that stuff. And I've been studying for my ham life, so that's where I've been because I couldn't get down to my office. This is the first time I've been down in the basement, and ever since the last episode we had, because I couldn't get down here. And today I came down the steps, but I used a cane and handrail, and I can hold my body weight up with my right arm. Thankfully, I have good, strong upper body. If I didn't have that, I'd be in bad shape. And as soon as I started doing that, I got my dumbbells out and started working out my arms and my chest and everything, trying to get my upper body strength up because I couldn't do much on the legs. And so doing that to burn calories and to keep my muscle mass in order to be able to get myself up and down because I'm picking myself up in the arms and one leg pretty much. And so dropped 35 pounds since this started. Um, because of the fasting and because of the diet change, and I feel great. Other than I'm just aggravated, I can't walk, and just and I have to make sure I stay on top of this the rest of my life, of course. But the doctor was encouraging, said, "Hey, you keep this up, things are going to look like they're going to be okay." He said, "You're never going to be 100% because you're 56 years old and you've got really bad flat feet, and you've got arthritis really bad in your ankles and with the neuropathy and all that. But the thing is that the neuropathy is actually improved. I started taking some vitamins that are supposed to help with neuropathy, and they seem to have helped quite a bit. I'm getting a lot of sensation in parts of my feet that I hadn't had before. So I don't know that it's reversible because of the nerve damage, the actual spinal damage I had, but I can feel more of my feet, which in ways is good. In other ways, I can feel the pain, but it lets me know there's a problem if there's something going on. So that's good. Well, that's enough about me, my feet, and all that stuff. But that's where I've been, and we apologize. It's not that I wanted to be out. It's just I couldn't physically get down here, and moving all this stuff upstairs is just not feasible. Well, I mean, it can be done, but it's just be a big headache for everybody in the family. I'm just going to focus on getting well, and then as soon as I'm able to do it, then we'll do it. And so that's why we're here. On the God side, daily Bible reading. I've been going to church, with the exception of the first 2 weeks when I didn't have the little knee scooter. I just kept my feet up and didn't put any weight on it at all. And then when I had the knee scooter, I went back to church. But it's been challenging. But now that I can drive, it's a lot nicer. I could just take my little scooter out and pitch it in the back seat of the truck, and there's a lot of things you have to overcome and figure out ways of doing things that you never had to think about before, like how you not use your foot and pick up 40-pound scooter and put it in the back of your truck without falling down while standing on one leg, and then how to get in a truck without using your other one foot, and so I have to use my arms to pull myself up in there. uh, Yeah, it just you can overcome most things if you got enough good health, and so looks like it's going that way. So I've been enjoying going to church. I was on the church security team officially one Sunday before I had to go on the disabled list for a while, but I was talking to the guy that runs the church security at our new church, and he's like, "Hey, you get around all right on that? You think you want to come back on duty?" I was like, "Well, if you don't, if you're gonna want to go on a mobile patrol, that's me." So he's put me
Put you on
back in the
light on
roster.
stuff.
So I never stopped packing just because I had a little chair thing. I've kept my gun, wear my gun every day, even all stuck in my chair, but because of
You,
that cool crossbreed holster.
right? You need to wire some lights up on your little scooter for church security.
I need a backup alarm on it because when I go to back up, I tell people clear out. I don't
Come
have no
back,
mirrors. I don't have
coming
any
back.
mirrors. I'm coming back. You remember that joke? Look out, Mama, she backing up. I don't remember that joke or not. There was a They were in a checkout line and at a grocery store, and it was like one of those little Timmy jokes. And the woman in front of him was in some kind of chair or something. And boy heard the backup alarm truck outside. And the woman was moving back. Goes, look out, Mama, she's backing up. It was a lot better joke than what I told, but that's all I can remember. Let's see. EDC, I've been still carrying my Super Tuck. Still carrying my Shadow Systems, whatever it's called. I don't forgot what it's called. It's the where's my gun? XR920. I've been carrying that, but I did pick up a SIG, it's a 365 XL, which is the larger
Oh,
brother of yours,
it is.
and I had ordered a pocket holster, which hadn't come in yet, and a crossbreed mini tuck because I picked that gun up in the store because I should have known better. And I picked the thing up, and man, it's like, man, that thing feels good in your hand. It point the natural point, and it holds
Hmm.
12 rounds in the standard magazine. And like, that's a nice gun for summertime. Be easy to conceal. Just
Yep.
disappear on me. And I thought, we going down to Florida. It'd be nice to have something I can wear with shorts and a little t-shirt or whatever, and not show up. So I ordered that. It hadn't come in yet, but I handed down my PVS 14, my night vision to Gunner, uh, because I had the helmet, I had the flip down mount and all that stuff, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to go out and be a nighttime sniper and nighttime running patrol kind of guy. I said, he's 22, he can handle he could probably utilize it better. Plus, the night vision he has for his rifle is that digital one, which is okay, but it's not as good as that night vision that I got. And so I've been thinking about getting a thermal binocular, so I could identify stuff further out. I really like my scope, but I've been thinking about trading mine in and getting something else. And there's like, well, I'd like to have that hand me down. Like, but
Yeah.
I've been looking at that with the XP50. It's like the top of the
Hmm.
line one, and it's so much clearer than even mine. I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
I'd like to get that, but I haven't talked myself into that yet. It's the next thing on my wish list. So it's coming down the road. Maybe I know some places will take the money on trade in, so I wouldn't have that much of a step up, but it's still something I'm thinking about. Barnside, I mean, it's pretty much springtime here. I mean, we're still having some cool nights, but it's everything's greened up and the grass has started growing and the weeds have started growing and the cows are, eating on that. We had a really bad storm last Friday, a high windstorm here in Kentucky, and it took off a roof off of two of my rental properties. Well, it took off one whole roof and took off part of another one on a fourplex we got, and it uh, tore down a barn that was from the 1800s. It might have been the late 1700s. It was hand hewn log barn. All the supports in it were all lumbered, with crosscut saw and hand hewed out of axes and awls and all that stuff. And that storm hit it up on top of that big hill. It's been there, 150, 200 years, and it just rolled it. It was those, we had like 90 mile an hour sustained winds for like 2 hours. Lost a whole bunch of trees.
Mm.
I had a playground at my granddad's old house where we used to live at, and it rolled it all the way up across the yard up into a fence and took out a big old pear tree over there. Uh, just all kinds of damage around. So I spent all day Saturday going around and getting a hold of roofing contractors and checking all the different properties out for all the damage. And didn't get to go to the ham convention down at Cave City. I was going to go down there and test for my extra, but I had to take care of all the damaged houses and stuff. So we got everything tarped up before the rains came today. So that was good. We were out of power. Our power went out during the storm on Friday and didn't come back on until this Monday at about noon. But we had just finished that installation of that whole house generator, and that was fortunate because it kicked on as soon as the power went out, and it ran continuously for 4 days or so until our power was back on, which was good. And I was able to loan. I had three other generators. I loaned them out to neighbors, and my son Tim needed a generator, so was able to keep their neighbors all powered up too. So that was that. So ham, I had tickets for Hamcation. I was going to go, and then the doctor said, "No, I don't want you flying. I don't want you driving." So I was going to meet up with Doug and Wendy, and they were going to come down and hang out with us at the condo. But I didn't get to make it. But at least you guys got to come down.
We did. It was fun.
So did that. Let's see. Well, y'all got to do that. I got to hear about it next time, though. We're going to be down there with you. and
There
we'll
you
have a
go.
good time. We'll go out to eat and all that stuff. But I'm looking forward to getting the all clear to travel. I thought, well, I might even fly if I could get down there. And he said, no, I don't even want you being up on your. I don't want you being vertical or sitting with your feet down for that long. He said you'd have to get some kind of seat where you can have your foot elevated. So that got canceled. So all my hopes and plans for February were wiped out. Uh, I did go ahead and buy me a ticket to Hamvention up in Xena, Ohio in May. So I'm going to try to go to that one. I've already got my hotel reserved up there. So that's a big ham fest. I think it's like second largest in the world, biggest one in the United States usually. So I'm going to try to go to that one. And then I already talked about my gun packing, and but I did acquire a new knife. I did pick up a Kershaw. If you can see it, it's uh,
Uh-huh.
it's called the Launch 14, and it's carbon fiber, and it's an auto knife, and I really like it. It is extremely light. I mean, extremely light, and
I
uh,
like that blade.
I love this blade. It is a strong, heavy blade, and it holds its sharpness. I never had a Kershaw knife. I think you told me about you used to have a Kershaw, or you
I
carry a
got a couple.
Kershaw.
I got a couple of them.
Yeah, this is the first Kershaw I bought, but I really like the design of it. I like the weight of it. I like the size of it. It's not a large knife. It's a medium size, everyday carry type of knife. But like the blade, like everything about that. All right. So what are you carrying tonight?
Uh, I got a Glock 19 with the super tuck on it. I don't have it in the room in here because I just got home from checking that property out, and I was taking everything out of my pockets, and it's in the living room. But um, normally it's the little Sig 365, but my wife took that. So until I get the other one, um, back to the Glock, which I like my Glock. I can't complain. That thing looks like it has been whew, around the world and back,
Well,
but she
it pretty
still
much has
shoots.
been.
She still shoots though.
We got Jim and Daryl and Rick over here commenting, and we got Steve over on YouTube, and who else over? Brian's over there on YouTube. So glad to
Hmm.
have you guys with us tonight. If you got any snide remarks, throw them our way. Let's see. I didn't have any feedback. And I didn't check iTunes. You have any feedback?
I did not.
Comedy. You guys a joke. Whew.
I got a joke. I might have told this one before, but we haven't been on so long, so maybe we got some new viewers.
Yeah. Maybe everybody else is forgetful as we are.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was looking for jokes, and I saw this one. I was like, that's a good one. I like that one. So a kindergarten teacher was observing her classroom as the children are drawing pictures. The teacher would occasionally walk around to see what each child's artwork looked like. As she approached one little girl who was working especially hard, she asked, "What was she drawing?" Little girl told her, "I'm drawing God." She said, "But sweetie, no one actually knows what God looks like." Automatically, the little girl continues drawing and said, "Well, they certainly will in a minute." She got her rendition.
She got it down. Huh? I have been visited by a dog. I think I got a dog that's come in here.
I had to
They
shut the door. Ella would have been in here with me.
they have missed me, and when I came downstairs a while ago, they just are all over me because we've kept them downstairs since we had the floors redone. Their domain's the basement, uh, but when I came down, they both were all over me. So I guess they're trying to get in here. They're on the other side of the door, I guess.
Down in the bunker.
Dan Booker. This that is a joke you have told before, and
It's
it's
still a
still
pretty good one.
it's still a good joke. And we've got new people. Maybe they haven't heard it.
Steve said that was a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. On this day in history, what happened?
Man, on this day in history, the Battle of the Monarch and the Merrimack in 1862 during the American Civil War, The ironclad Monitor and Virginia, formerly Merrimack, battled in the harbor at Hampton Roads, Virginia, making the beginning of the new era of naval warfare. I saw that. I said, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember the Monitor was the one that looked like a flat with like a turret on it or something, wasn't it? The
Hmm.
Merrimack was like a broadside triangular shaped one with gun ports all up and down.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember studying those in school. I thought they were cool designs for the day time.
They probably don't even study that no more.
They're all iron laden. They, as soon as they had any bad water, though, they sank because they were so heavy.
Hmm.
But as long as they had good calm water, I think they were okay. A bunch of them sunk though.
Oh yeah.
I remember reading a story they were dredging somewhere and it hung into one, tore up the dredge somewhere. Was it South Carolina? One of them rivers going out to the ocean.
Mm.
All right. So I've got a Bible verse. Let's see if I can get it to show up. Present. Share screen. Share screen. Ecclesiastes. Share screen. Look at that. Like I knew what I was doing. We're going to go Old Testament on you tonight. We're going to be here in Ecclesiastes. Which one? Ecclesiastes 12, verses 13 and 14. The end of the matter, all has been heard, for God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether it's good or evil. And the reason that Bible verse sort of appealed to me today was that as we see these videos coming to light that have been hidden,
Yeah.
uh, it's pretty unique how they respond to that, isn't it? They don't want anybody to see them videos, and then, oh, Tucker's done become what do they call him now? A terrorist.
Te-
He's spreading lies, and he's just evil.
Video don't lie, does it?
There's the video. We've been seeing the clips that they cut out of it and showed us for the last 22 months. Uh, I couldn't believe that those guys were convicted, never got to have that for their evidence to support that they didn't destroy or tear up anything.
Mm-mm.
Amazing how that works. But God knows, and sooner or later it's going to come out. Skeletons will eventually come out of the closet, and then at Judgment Day, everything you did for God or everything you did against God, every sin you committed will be brought forth, and every good thing you did brought forth. And it really don't matter. All that matters is what your relationship with His Son, and if He's covered you with the anointing of His blood, forgiven your sins, then all's forgiven, and you get to go into your eternal reward. If it not, gnashing and weeping of gnashing of teeth and weeping and sorrow and pain and despair and separation from God. That's not where you want to be at. So you might want to reflect on, have I confessed my sins and have I turned to Jesus as my Lord and Savior and not depending upon my good works or my good deeds, because ain't none of them actually weighs it out. Only one thing, that your faith in Jesus Christ is the Son of God and your Redeemer. All right, main topic tonight. We're talking about these recent 2A victories, all because of Bruin. Most of the stuff, making them go back to the text, tradition, and history of the founding. Is this what was understood and accepted at the time of the draft of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, which followed right after? Were people allowed to have guns? Yes. Were they allowed? Let's see. One of the ones was in Texas, and it was the guy that had been forbidden to have a gun because his wife were estranged, and they put an EPO or they put some kind of thing on him. And when they did that, what was it? Some kind of domestic fight. he'd been charged, but he'd never been convicted. And because he'd been charged on the form, this was it the 4473,
Mm,
you can't, if you've ever been charged with a domestic whatever, it doesn't matter whether you're convicted or not, you've ever been charged with it, you couldn't be given a gun. He said that wasn't right because he hadn't been convicted of it, and he shouldn't be done that. That was like one of the earlier on things, and they said no, that's unconstitutional and struck that down. So ATF's supposed to remove that thing on there about being charged with something. You actually have to be convicted of a felony offense. And another one, it said he served his time, he should be able to restore his rights back because Second Amendment is not a second class right. It's if you can have the right to free speech and have the right to all the other rights under the Bill of Rights, then you should be able to have your right once your conviction is done. Once you paid your time in prison, you should be able to regain your rights as a full citizen.
mm,
If not, then they should still be in prison. If they're so bad that they can't be able to possess a gun outside of prison after they pay their dues, then they shouldn't be out of prison.
don't let them out.
They shouldn't be out. They should be left in. And so that one was still working its way up through the courts, but it looked like it had a good chance as well of maybe people that had learned their lesson or had changed their lives in prison and got saved or turned their lives around and are restored back out into the community. They should be restored to their full rights. And so that's another one that looks promising, uh, that might come to fruition. Of course, all of the states that the Bruin pretty much nullified their right to keep people from getting gun licenses all went out and said, well, you can't carry them anywhere. Those are being struck down. And New Jersey, I think, already got that struck down recently. And so they're going to have to let them carry them in more places than just their house and places. The other one, California, I think, is going to lose their magazine ban because those are standard capacity magazines, and they're going to probably lose that one. Looks like that's already been worked its way up to the state court. And what's happening out in California is that they're trying to say that the judge is in charge of making those decisions better watch out because they're going to they've dredged up some kind of dirt on him to try to get him to rule in favor of the state instead of the plaintiffs. And he's already indicated that he's going to rule it as unconstitutional and kick it on up to the next level. And Newsom's pretty much threatening him, and the attorney general of the state's pretty much threatening this judge that if he doesn't rule the right way, that they're going to start an investigation on him, and so he should have to. I think they're wanting him to step down from that and to get appointed to a different judge.
I bet they are.
And I know that our friend out there, man, I was getting ready to say his name and I just drew a blank. The professor out there, he's a ham guy. Probably could see his book over if I look long enough. But he said that he went to apply and it was $1,000 for the permit.
Ooh,
And he's already appealed it. He's going to be retiring, I think, this coming year. But he's been fighting the good fight for ever since we've known him, trying to get to where he could carry his gun. I can see his face. He's got the pheasant farm in South Dakota. His family did. Uh, Gosh, what's his name? If you're on here, sound off. He listens from time to time. But he said that in their county it was $1,000. New York State is has this thing. In order to get the permit, you have to have live fire training. But in order to have live fire training, you have to have a permit. So you got catch 22. If you go take live fire training, they're going to prosecute the trainer and the person for having live fire training without having a permit.
oh, jeez.
Yeah. That's what's going on in New York. You wonder why people are fleeing that place like Hades, but it's that's what's going on there. But things are slowly working their way through the courts. But what they're doing is they're dragging it out as long as they can, and hoping that some of these conservatives, constitutional judges keel over or retire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're at. They're going to drag it out as long as they can and try to hold on to that power and keep people from being able to have their rights as long as they can, hoping that they can get some judges appointed. They're still talking about trying to uh, impeach Thomas because his wife was involved with some fundraiser or something, some political campaign or something. So they're trying to impeach him for that so they can get him off and then put in another liberal. So they're trying by hook and crook any way they can to keep it from happening. But so far, uh, text, tradition, and history is big stumbling block for all these laws because they can't go back and say, well, this is the way it was, at the time of the Constitution. They tried to say that, well, you're only limited to muskets, but that's already been kicked out because free speech applies to the internet or it's supposed to. The internet applies to modern print, modern publishing, all that stuff. Modern forms of communication is considered free speech, and so uh, they're trying to say they were trying to say that you could do that, but it never said that you couldn't have more modern arms or newer arms or anything like that. And just as the other rights have moved up through history, so shall the Second Amendment. And the whole basis upon which the Second Amendment was predicated, the whole reason it was done is that it would be a deterrent towards tyrannical government and foreign enemies. I mean, that was the base. It wasn't for hunting. It wasn't for target shooting. It wasn't for clay pigeon shooting. It wasn't for even personal defense. It was for the defense of the nation or the we the people against the tyrannical government. That was the reason for it. And so the whole argument that well you only get muskets is moot. That's not true. That's not what it's supposed to be. Our weapons should be equal to whatever the government has, wherever the military or the powers that are governing us should be equal so that they are kept in check because it's checks and balances. The three different party branches of government are a series of checks and balances, and then the press is supposed to be a series of checks and balances, and so are we the people as the final check and balance that we can nullify unconstitutional laws because we have the right to bear arms against tyrannical behavior. And it's for days like we are incurring right now that the Second Amendment was established, and we all know that. But there was some other good the suppressor one is in Texas is proceeding forward that there's that it shouldn't be a ban. It shouldn't be banned. Shouldn't be under the NFA because it's not a gun. If it is a gun, then it should be able to be utilized as new technology and not limited because our right to new technology shouldn't be limited. So that's another thing that's moving forward. That looks like maybe the Texas where they can produce their own suppressors in the state for inside that state not be transferred out. The government and the ATF are fighting on the common was it commerce clause wherever that
Mm.
has to be able to be transferred from one state to the other. But that again is not that's infringing upon the Second Amendment with what they're trying to do there. And so now there's talk, is the NFA even, it's gotten people so riled up, especially since they forced this new brace rule that the brace is how somehow a gun that's shorter than a rifle but bigger than a pistol is somehow we can't have access to that. Well, there's no justification. If you can have a pistol and you can have a rifle, why can't you have one in between? I mean, brace or no brace with a grip, I mean, with whatever you want to put on it or not put on it. If you can have a pistol, and you can have a rifle. Why is the one in the middle? You can't have that one unless you want to pay taxes. unless you pay a tax, you go through a background check and all this garbage. Uh, why is it that these have become outlawed, and why after 10 years of saying they were perfectly fine, then you reverse yourself and change back, and that you make it a criminal penalty, and that you're you know instituting all these things that the bureaucracy of the ATF doesn't have the right to do. Those powers are not given to them by Congress, and so they're saying, and so there is I think there's 5 or 6 lawsuits about the pistol brace. We know that the bump stock got overturned, and it'll work its way, I guess, up to the Supreme Court, which should, again, it's not a gun, so they don't really have a right to regulate it. It's a piece of plastic. If they're declaring it a gun, then again, if it's a gun, then we have the right to have it. It's not a machine gun; it's just a piece of plastic or aluminum or wherever they make them out of. I don't know. I don't have one, but it's just I think that they have pushed so hard and have been so egregious in their attack upon the citizenry that people are finally tired of it, and hopefully we can get more actual real Republicans elected, or at least conservative Democrats that say, "Hey, this stuff is stupid," and that maybe the Supreme Court can say, "Hey, the whole NFA thing, it's unconstitutional." But it's going to take going through each of these steps to say, okay, why is a SBR illegal? Because you can have a pistol, which is easier to conceal and can hold as many rounds as as a lot of rifles. Why is it okay to have that? Why is it okay to have a rifle? Why can't you have the one in between? It doesn't make any logical sense. The whole reason that short barrel rifles is in there because originally the NFA banned pistols, and when
Mm-hmm.
they took it to the Senate, they're like, hey, you can't do that. They got the pistols removed from the thing, but they didn't go far enough to take out the short barrel rifle, which they should have went ahead. It should have been nullified at the same time, as well as suppressors. There's nothing that makes a suppressor more evil or makes it more dangerous. It makes it actually safer because people's hearing, because it doesn't do anything to make anything more deadly. It's just
Mm-mm.
another thing that they have stuck their claws into, and the only reason that they're able to do it is that they're using taxing. They can't actually deny you the right to have it. They can
Right.
tax it to the point that you can't afford it or make it difficult for you to get, but constitutionally, you have the right to have it. You even have the right to have a machine gun if you can buy one that was made before 1986, which I think that whole farce is unconstitutional. Why Reagan never signed that, I have no idea. Maybe he was already getting senile in '86, and the reason he signed it. But the whole thing about any guns that were manufactured after 1986, any machine guns manufactured after 1986 couldn't be transferred to citizens. It could only be transferred to police departments or military. That's unconstitutional because we have the right to have machine guns. We have the right to have all these weapons by the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you want to tax it out of the ability of people to own it, that doesn't make it legal. Have you been following a lot of this stuff?
I've been following some of it. I'm looking at all the court filings for the arm brace,
Yeah,
which I think that's going to get overturned too, just like the bump
bump
stock
stock.
thing did. They're not going
Yeah,
they're not going to allow that. It's
I don't think so.
ridiculous.
The only problem we got is we got a bunch of rhinos in charge of what Republican balance we've got in the House. Uh, I don't think Kevin McCarthy's our friend in the 2A community. He's a California rhino, and the only reason he's in position is because that the constitutional Republicans held his feet to the fire. I mean, he promised to do some things, but I don't think they made him promise to do anything on the Second Amendment issues because they know it's going to get struck down as soon as it gets to the Senate because we got good old Mitch McConnell over there in bed with the Democrats. And
Yeah. I've still been hitting up all the congressmen and stuff,
oh yeah, keep it up.
complaining
I
about
mean,
it.
we got to keep it on them. And all these people that are putting all this money out for these lawsuits, you guys need to be supporting them. The Gun Owners of America. I think the NRA actually stumbled themselves into one lawsuit. I mean, they're pathetic. I mean, They should be out here leading a lot of stuff, and they're just going along. Bunch of country club blue blood Republicans at best. I used to. I mean, I was an NRA benefactor member. I guess I still am a lifetime benefactor member of the NRA, but man, I think I've wasted my money there. So I support the Gun Policy Coalition. I support GOA. I support Second Amendment Foundation. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners Association. I'm members of all those different groups because they're out there fighting a hard fight. They're out there putting the money in. They're out there, every day trying to catch these guys, keep them from passing unconstitutional laws, and then are going to courts and fighting them. And you guys, if you got money to send, make sure you send money to those guys because they're out there trying to preserve and restore your rights. So,
Yeah, they are.
yep,
There's some good ones out there.
yep.
There's a couple that, like you said, not doing much of nothing.
And pray for your Supreme Court justices that they live long and prosper because if they had their way, they would be flipping those seats out and putting in real dogs that would just vote whatever they want them to.
Hmm.
Primary Arms, I want to thank them again for supporting the show. They've been with us 2 years now, uh, almost a full 2 years. So check out things over at primaryarms.com, and they have some pretty good sales going on. They have sent me lots of things to test out and try that I need to get out and try. I tell you, Doug, it's been killing me. I was sitting in my chair with my foot up, and there's a groundhog has moved in again in my backyard. And every time I get up, get my little scooter, get around the house to get out to the door, by the time he hears me squeaking coming out the back door, he's in gone. I
He ain't wasting no
sat there
time.
today. Oh man, he's a smart one. They aren't usually any smart groundhogs. They're usually pretty blind and not that smart. But I thought for sure I was going to get to him yesterday, and I couldn't get there in time. As soon as I opened that door up, and my ears perked up. As soon as those wheels hit that ramp going down to my back porch, he was gone. Gosh, it's been too cold out there some days, and other days he's out there, and I just can't get up and get out there in time. So I don't know. I told my wife, I said, "You got to move that stuff in front of the window. I'm going to shoot at the window." You ain't shooting out the window of my bedroom. I
Open the
said, "It's just,
glass and just shoot through the screen.
yeah." Oh, there's not. There's one window. There's not a screen on it. I think if I lean back, I can get out the window and get him. All I've got beside my chair is an AR. I don't have my 22s up beside my chair. I only got
I,
room for one
I did
rifle.
that. I did that one time at home um, when I was growing up. That Dad let us shoot all the blackbirds we want to. You didn't have to
Yeah.
eat them, but you could shoot all you wanted. Man, one Saturday morning I woke up and the whole side of our house, the yard was covered up with blackbirds. We had our guns and stuff in the room. I could take it, go squirrel hunt, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I slid the window open and stuck that 20 gauge out that window and started pulling the trigger on blackbirds. Whoo! My mom come flying in there. What in the world? And I'm about half hung out the window. And I had blackbirds laying everywhere. I lit them up.
I used to have squirrels at our house. And I do it with the 22. I'd walk them off of branches. There are big oak trees out there in front of the house. I had my bedroom's on the front of the house, and I would slide my window up. I'd be sitting in there, and I wouldn't shoot. I wouldn't shoot the squirrels. I wouldn't kill them. I was just blinking. And I'd walk up squirrels. I keep shooting the bark behind them and walk them all the way out to the end of the limb. They'd jump over to another tree. But I have shot blackbirds out of the window before. We didn't have too many in the deep woods back there, but when we lived down in Glasgow, I would shoot them. I was between 6 and 10, I guess,
Oh yeah.
and I had a 22 that my grandfather got me, and I'd sit there in my room and shoot them out of the trees out front. Oh, good old days. Patches and
Y-
stickers. We got a few left. I've sold almost everything. I guess I need to call up Jake and get some more supplies. So if you guys want patches, stickers, you can do that. We've got a subscribe star account too. It's god dash subscribestar.com/god dash and dash guns. And you can send us a little bit of love. We would appreciate it. We got a couple more, then we'll get the arm system of the week.
Have PowerTac lights. If you're looking for a good light for a weapon, for a hunt light for your hat, or just a light to carry around in your pocket, go out and check our buddies out at PowerTac Lights, powertac.com. Use the promo code God and Guns, and they'll give you 30% off for just listening to the show. So go check our buddies out and support them. And what you help them with, they help us back. So it's a good deal. Also, Crossbreed holsters. Hey, if you're carrying a gun on your person, got one next to your bed, your wife got one in her purse, go check our buddies out at Crossbreed. They make a holster for however you want to carry and pretty much whatever kind of gun you want to carry. Use our promo code G&G over there, and they'll give you 10% off for listening to the show as well. And if you get something from them, make sure you heard about it. Tell them that you heard about it from us. There you go. Jim chimed in over on YouTube and said he's interested in the brace discussion. He thinks it'll be overturned. He said, "But what do we do in the meantime?" I told him, I said, "Well, we need to get Mike on the show again, and Mike G, get him come on and
He records his show at the same time we do on
does he?
Thursday night. Yep, Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. Yeah,
Well, we'll
he's
have to
got
get
two
him
or
on.
three people on his show now.
Does he?
Yep,
Well,
he does
we'll
a
have to get him
slot.
on we'll have to get him on a Friday or 8 o'clock on
Yeah,
Thursday or something.
he does a live show on Thursday nights now. So, yep, I commented on his show when we weren't doing our recording. I comment on his show some, and he tells people to come over and watch our show. When he sees my comments come up. Armed
I was
citizen, what do you got?
Armed citizen this week comes to us from Grayson County, Virginia. A man is dead after allegedly breaking into a home and attacking an armed homeowner early in the morning of Tuesday, December the 6th, 2022. According to police, a 41-year-old alleged intruder broke into the bedroom window and entered the home while the homeowner was asleep. The resident quickly grabbed a handgun that was in the room when the burglar grabbed the man from behind. A struggle ensued, with both the men falling to the floor. The homeowner retained control of his handgun and fired twice, striking the intruder and killing him. Police say that early investigations indicated that the homeowner acted within the law. That comes to us from WDBJ 7 News in Roanoke, Virginia.
Good deal.
Chalk another one up for the good guys.
Yep. Pays to be prepared.
It does.
Well, you have anything else we need to talk about before we wrap this thing up tonight?
I don't think so, man. Um, Feels good being back, doesn't it?
I know it does. A little rusty around the edges, trying to remember how to do all this stuff. It's one of those things you got to keep up regular. You get behind on your updates and stuff. I was telling you before the show started, I couldn't get my Apple to work, and it was trying to log into my gas range upstairs. I'm like, what in the world? We got a Bluetooth gas range up there, and it was trying to not Bluetooth. It's a Wi-Fi gas range, I guess. I didn't know it was Wi. I didn't know it was doing anything. I didn't know it was something discoverable. But apparently, my computer was trying to use it for its Wi-Fi access.
There you
Crazy.
go.
We'll wrap it up. Send your feedback to troy@guygunspodcast.com, or
Doug at GuyandGunsPodcast.com.
please tell your friends about us. Leave us an iTunes review and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/GuyGunsPodcast. You can subscribe and follow us on YouTube. You can find us over on Instagram. We've got a webcam page that I haven't even looked at. I don't know months because it just never really went anywhere. Rumble is going right now, so if you don't, if you have Rumble, go over and check us out on Rumble. Give us a like and a follow. And we are on MeWe, which again I haven't been on for a long time because I used to do gun trades over there, and I haven't been over there at all. Our podcast is our website is guygunspodcast.com. Till next time, Doug, have a blessed week.
And keep your guns close, but keep your Bibles closer. You guys have a great night and appreciate you joining us
Yes, sir. We appreciate all of you all, and we will try to be back as soon as possible. Hopefully, next week.
next week.
Next week. Adios.